But what team that didn't disappoint, team that honestly surprised everybody, the New England Patriots. Just when you thought that you could get rid of the Patriots for good, just when you thought that, the Belichick exit was too ugly, the turnover to Drake Maye, too tumultuous, they don't have the right general manager in place, they don't have enough players. Is Drake Maye any good? Just when you thought we're done with the Patriots, year by year, we've dealt with them with Tom Brady and Belichick, and they kill everybody every year, Super Bowls, basically winning every playoff game they play on the AFC. They had 2 bad years, essentially, maybe even 3, and they put a footprint in the NFL yesterday in Buffalo, taking down the Buffalo Bills last night on Sunday Night Football, a terrific win, 23-20. Christian, are you scared of the New England Patriots? Or are you even buying into potentially this team being any good?
Tell you what, Drake Maye looked really good.
Calm.
He looked very ready for the moment, and he showed emotion for the first time as a New England Patriot after taking down the undisputed number 1 team in his division on the road in the whiteout conditions that Buffalo had in Orchard Park. Another moving to a different stadium soon, so it felt like emotions were riding high in that building.
It was a whiteout game. Those whiteout games are cursed. Let's end those for good. Christian knows what I'm talking about. Those whiteout games are a waste of time because half the time these teams lose.
Drake Maye made a couple of plays. I think it was Dawkins who was trying to sack him. He just stiff-armed him, stayed alive long enough.
Last drive of the game
to
Stephon Diggs.
Away.
Yeah.
And then the Stephon Diggs quote-unquote revenge game, even though that was an amicable split, and he likes the guys that are on the other side.
They don't need to interview him before the game. They were interviewing him before the game. What are the emotions heading into this one? He didn't win a Super Bowl with Buffalo. Can we take a timeout? This is not that big of a deal. Stephon Diggs going back to Buffalo after playing there for 3.5, 4 years.
Yeah, and it's not his team that drafted him either.
Right.
He was a Viking, and then a Bill, and now he's a Patriot. He looked very good in that game. If that's what's going to get his rocks off and get him to become a undisputed number 1 receiver in football, good for Stephon Diggs. But the one person that I came out of that Sunday Night Football win thinking differently about was Drake Maye.
And the thing about the Patriots is you felt like they got every break in the book coming for a team playing Buffalo who doesn't turn the ball over, who likes to run the football, control the time of possession, tempo. You can't stop Allen. You can't stop James Cook. That was a game where, number 1, they shut down the rushing attack. But number 2, Buffalo, uncharacteristic in handing the ball off. I mean, interceptions, fumbles. I mean, the Patriots had every opportunity to really punish them early on in the game, and they didn't. And it was one of those games that you're waiting at the end of the game when Buffalo is looking to tie it up or down 10, finally get their touchdown. You're thinking, Buffalo's going to get back into this. This is exactly what happened in week 1. They're going to make this dramatic comeback. I know New England was able to hang around this long, and now Buffalo is going to put them away. And it never happened. And you got to give Mike Vrabel, the first-year head coach, or if not first year in the NFL, but first year with the New England Patriots, a lot of credit. And you got to give the quarterback a lot of credit in Drake Maye. Because Ramondre Stevenson, Antonio Gibson, all the running backs that they have, those guys fumble like anybody I've ever seen. They fumble more than anybody. And that's the reason they lost the Patriot game. This team is now 3-2, the Patriots are. They're 3-2, and they lost to the Steelers 2 weeks ago, and it was a game they should have won. They had 5 turnovers in the red zone, 5 fumbles in the red zone 2 weeks ago against the Steelers. If not for that type of game where just everything was going wrong in the ball security front, this team could very well be 4-1. And that's a team that was picking top end in the draft for 2 straight years, spent a ton of money in free agency, basically upended their entire coaching staff after the Drake Maye disaster. And now they had a namesake victory at Buffalo, divisional, where, hey, if you steal one on the road, all of a sudden things can turn into your favor a little bit, and now there's no undefeateds in the NFL.
Yeah, and stats can lie to you in the NFL because if you don't watch the game and you just look at the box score, okay, one team might have been trailing by 30 points the entire time, so they air the football out for 3 quarters, and that's why a quarterback might look like he did a great job. No, the Patriots were commanding that game from the opening kickoff to the whistle, and like you mentioned, overcoming those untimely fumbles by Stevenson, still having injuries also on that Patriots side. Drake Maye had 273 passing yards. He was supported by a leading rusher of Travion Henderson, with 24 yards on the ground. Like, against the Bills in hostile territory, I look at this game as more of, wow, the Patriots have arrived, rather than, okay, we have some serious question marks surrounding the Buffalo Bills. There's room for two good teams in one division. That has not been the story of the AFC East in 25 years.
25 years, yes.
It's like they're either one great team and everyone else stinks. No, we now have two good teams in the AFC East.
And you look at this from the Patriots' perspective. They've played the Bills. They haven't played the Jets yet, and they've only played the Dolphins once. Both those teams are not very good. I know the Dolphin game is always a competitive battle. You can't just write off a divisional game. But that's 3 games right then and there that they should have a commanding opportunity to win. That's not even including the fact that they have to play the Titans, that they have to play the Browns. They have to play a lot of bad teams throughout their schedule. They have to play the Giants. There is a opportunity for this team to the postseason. It's a little early. We're just past the first quadrant of the 16-game season. So now you get through the first 4. Now you can see what the second 4 looks like. I assume all the NFL teams are thinking, win the quadrant, go 2-2, 3-1, and then move on to the next. The Patriots are now 2-2 after the first, 1-0 into that second point of the season. And up ahead, what do they have? At Saints, at Titans, Browns. 3 winnable games. This team very well might be 6-2. Totally could be. Now it's the Patriots. Now they could, rain on the parade at any moment because it's an unproven team. You're not going to win every game you're supposed to win. But 6-2, a year after what they were, and upending the coaching staff, and so much turnover defensively, I was very impressed. They had the game. That was the game of the week for them. That was the game of the week because everybody else basically fell right on their face. A lot of blowouts yesterday in the NFL. And the Patriots were the only team that really elevated to the occasion and shocked the world, other than maybe Tennessee, if you want to count that.
Man, the tortured New England fan. It's been a while, right?
It's ridiculous.
Been
I don't want to listen to that. I don't want to listen to that.
Destitute and just disassociation from the football team.
I've heard New England fans say this stuff. Oh, ever since Post Belichick, it's just been a dumpster fire. It's been this, it's been that. The Red Sox lost. Oh, we're miserable. Give me a break. Because, Jason Tatum going down. Now the Celtics are screwed. You're a year away from a championship in that regard. You're 3 years removed from basically 1,700 straight AFC championship game appearances. And then you have the Bruins, who were great 5-6 years ago. I mean, I can't listen to it. I really can't.
You're the Ottoman Empire. They had decades and lifetimes of success and dominance, and just a monopoly on the NFL would have felt like for a long time for our football lives. You can take a couple of regression years, and we're not going to kiss your butt and feel happy for you like you're Cleveland Browns or Detroit Lions fans when you're back at the top, or at least showing that you can be competent and not a joke.
There's always a worst to first team in the NFL every single year. And I'm not going to say it's the Patriots. It's too early for that. But based on the early rankings of these teams, it's a lot of the usual suspects. And then the Patriots are sort of surprising you there, hanging around. Now, it could be Jacksonville. You got to see what happens tonight on Monday Night Football. But if you want to make an early declaration for a team that could be in the running for a worst to first, Patriots and Jacksonville are going to be you're probably 2 contenders for that mark. I'm not going to say the Bills are probably better than them. The Bills handed the Patriots multiple opportunities throughout the game to basically put them away, and it still took the last possession to do it. But you only play them twice, and you already beat them in their building. And they have an easier schedule than Buffalo does. A much, much easier schedule. Patriots, that's the good thing about being a team like New England, is because you're not paying your quarterback. You have a new head coach. It doesn't seem like they have a lot of difficult personalities in the building. You've sort of rid yourself of the Belichick stench, because that's now in Chapel Hill. And you have basically nothing to lose, everything to gain. It's the best position to be in because it's what the Commanders were last year. All it takes is that one huge win. Washington Commanders beating the Chicago Bears on that Hail Mary in Week 5 of last year.
Or even when the Commanders beat the Bengals in that game that had
Monday Night Football game.
Yeah, Monday Night Football. It introduced the Commanders and Jaden Daniels.
I believe that was Week 2 or Week 3. That's right. All it takes is that one early season victory, that kind of, applies pressure on the rest of the league. And then from there, it's a little bit of a momentum process because every team's trying to figure themselves out in the first 4 weeks. And now's where you start to really go on a run. Because if you're the Patriots, those next 3, I mean, 4, let's count it. Saints, Titans, Browns, Falcons.
It should be 4-0.
It should be 4-0. Let's assume 3-1. That is unbelievably easy. And then you got at the Buccaneers, tough game. Then you got the Jets, Bengals, Giants, who the Bengals look like the worst team in the NFL next to the Jets. And then you get the Giants, who we thought were pretty good, are, going to have their growing pains because of the new quarterback. That is a very doable schedule because now you start to look at, you already got 3 wins and you need 10, maybe 11. There's a path. There's a path for the Patriots there. I don't know if I'm being super hyperbolic because it's so early in the year, but you don't beat a team like Buffalo on the road and get no credit for it. And the fluke does not get thrown around for that type of game because they completely demolished Carolina a week ago. So this is a team that has at least been able to stack weeks. I'm afraid of them. That's a dangerous team to play.
Tell you what, the Buffalo Bills are lucky they pulled off that comeback on the first Sunday Night Football game of the season.
That's a good point.
Because if the Buffalo Bills were sitting here at 3-2 right now and they were tied with the Patriots having the tiebreaker, they are lucky they pulled off that highway robbery and still hold a leg up in that division.
And it's hard to get a read on the Bills because outside of that Raven game, and the Ravens stink, they've played the Jets, Dolphins, and the Saints.
You don't learn anything from the team.
We haven't seen anything from Buffalo because Buffalo hasn't been challenged. That's where you get, and they've been challenged in that Raven game. The Ravens are pretty good offensively. They're terrible defensively. We'll get into that later in the show. But the Bills, this early part of the schedule is the easy part. It gets harder towards the latter half. They still have to play the Chiefs. They still have to play the Eagles. They still have to play the Steelers, the Texans. They still have to play teams like this. They have had the easy point right now. I'm not saying it's Patriots versus the Bills, but it is very possible because of how bad the other 2 teams are in the division that both those teams could be 10-plus win teams. 10-plus wins.
Yeah, when you win the turnover battle, sometimes the final result can be deceptive in terms of how you controlled the game. But seeing the fumbles that were just gift-wrapped and handed to Buffalo a couple of times in that game, there's no excuses there. Like, the Patriots were just the better football team on the road in prime time in front of a national audience. And Drake Maye made a couple of wow plays passing the eye test. A couple of wow. I told you about the stiff arm where he got the football away on the last drive. There's also a throw rolling his right to the sideline where he led his receiver to the back pylon. Like, Drake Maye looked like a viable candidate out of that draft where we talk about how someone needs to suck, or you say that someone needs to suck out of that quarterback draft class. It's not Drake Maye.
It's not Drake Maye. And he's probably the one where you're most sure that he doesn't stink. Outside of him and Jaden Daniels, everybody else sort of has the jury still out on them. Caleb Williams has played well, but every time he wears the wrong shirt to the practice facility, he gets written about in the media. And then you got Penix and Nix. Nix had a huge win, but Nix has had his moments where he has struggled. And then Penix, who either is really adequate or really, really bad.